Well, Happy New Year, guys. It's January 2012, and we're back for a great new year. We're going to make some really good informational videos for you. So what's this one going to be about, Bart?
Well, this one is going to be about the cedar fencing material that we use. Back on number 27 and number 28 videos, you guys saw that we started switching, and that was about a year ago actually. I think it was December of last year that we started using this cedar fencing material. And we talked about some of the issues with it, warpage and different things. But this particular video, we really want to go into the moisture content in the boards. And we've talked about that a little bit in the past, but I really want to get into some details on that, show you what can be done with the cedar fencing, not only what you can do as far as making boards out of it, but what kind of profit can be made from some of these boards that you might be missing.
So you're gonna show them the moisture meter and how to go about reading it, and then how to go about preparing them for drying if the board's too wet. Is that it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to go into all of that. That's what we really want to accomplish on this video. So stay tuned. Again, Happy New Year to everybody, and thank you again for last year. 2011 was our best year yet. And we got a lot of new students and new friends out there. We're hearing great things from you guys. The Facebook thing is really starting to take off. We're starting to really get some cool stuff on there. But anyway, let's get into some details on this moisture.
Yeah, that's enough yakking. We'll get in and show you some stuff where it's not just us talking.
Okay, here we are. This, what you're looking at right now, is the moisture meter that we use. This is a Psi Moisture Meter. The model number is MD-2G. I think it's fairly inexpensive. I can't remember exactly what we paid for it.
Around $22. Son.
Yeah, okay, it was around 20, 25 bucks, something like that. And this cap just comes off, and that's your little prongs that you stick into the wood. So I'm just wanted to show you guys that so you could see what it is that we use. Now we're going to set up and use it and show you how it's done. Okay, folks, here's the little points at the end of the moisture meter, and what we're going to do is we're going to put these right into the edge of the board so it can tell us what it is that our moisture content is in those boards. So I turn it on, and then I'm going to actually stick those points right in there. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but that tells me that that board is about 22 to 24% moisture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen, and I'm going to write 24 right on the edge of that. I'd rather have it a little bit higher. So then I'm just going to do the same process all the way down these boards. Now that one says it's 6%. So that's not bad. That board, I may go ahead and use that. If I need to, I may go ahead and use that just the way it is. But I'm going to mark it with a 6 anyway. So the next one is at 10%. So I put that at 10. So I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera, and I'm going to do all of these the same way all the way down, and then we'll go to the next step.
What moisture content do you like, son?
I want it at 6% or less.
Okay.
Before I'll actually cut it into boards. So that's why I say this one here, I could go ahead and use that if I don't have any drier material. 6% or less still works out, but I'd rather have less. Okay guys, so I've gone through and I've labeled all of those so I know exactly what moisture those are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those in order from the ones with the most moisture at the bottom, and I'm going to stack them up. So the 24s will be on the bottom, then the 22s, and so on all the way to the top, and I'm going to stack them differently. So we're going to come back and I'll show you how I do that. Okay guys, we're back. So what I've done here is, like I talked about, I've stacked these in order of the highest moisture content at the bottom up to the top. And what we did was we took little pieces of scrap wood. You can make them out of whatever, but they're consistent, just little pieces of 1x, and we put one in between. At a lumber yard, this would be called putting them on stickers. The reason for that is we want airflow to get in between all those boards so that it can dry evenly. So I put these little stickers 3 different spots down the board. So I've got it at that end, I've got some in the middle, right underneath each other, and then I've got the ones on the other end. So what happens now is that what you want to do now is you can get something that you want to put and cap this off with, which is just I've just used a piece of OSB, and make sure that it's a little bit bigger on both sides and a little bit longer on the ends, so that the direct sunlight, if you're setting these outside, the direct sunlight is not getting on that top board, just on the edges of the boards. Okay, so this will allow your material to dry. Now the only other thing that I do besides this is I now want to put something on top of this. The reason for that is I want to have direct heavy pressure right on those stickers all the way down. So I'm going to come back in a second. I'll show you what I use for that. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do here is we've got some cinder blocks. Now you can do this with anything, but what we're using here is cinder blocks. I want heavy weight right over the top of these stickers, and I want to put this, at least one of these, but you could put multiples, on each point all the way down the board, in the center and at the other end. So, and the reason I do this is because when I first started drying this stuff, I didn't have weight on them, and what happens is as those boards dry, they may develop a warp or a twist in them. But I found that if I put weight on them as they're drying, that highly reduces the chance of them getting a warp or a twist in the board. So that's so you know, literally you could do this with rocks, you could do this with you know, concrete blocks, you could do it with brick, you could do it with anything that's heavy that you can put right over the top of those stickers, and that will keep those boards from warping too much. Okay, now I'm going to show you why I go through all of this hassle of drying this material out and making this stuff work. This is a board I bought 3 or 4 days ago, and you see I marked it at 22% moisture. It's now less than 6% moisture. I measured it just a minute ago, and it's 6% or less. When I get done, this board will probably, I can probably make somewhere between $80 and $100 worth of signs out of this board that cost me about $2. That's why I do this, guys. Beside the fact that it carves like butter. I mean, this is probably as soft a material as I've ever carved. For years we used redwood. But this stuff, man, I highly recommend using this stuff if you can do it. So that's the reason we go through this kind of a hassle. But once you get your process down, it really is not that big a deal. You just have to go through the process of drying it the right way.
Where do you buy that stuff, son?
Well, I get mine either at Lowe's or at Home Depot.
Okay.
And again, it's around $2, $2 a board, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on what you're going for, where you're at. So the only other thing is, I'm just going to go right into this, Dad. So yeah, the only other thing is, I do this outside. We're in Arizona. We've got kind of a dry climate out here. Kind of dry. It's very dry. But if you're in an area where you've got a lot of moisture, maybe snow, bad weather or whatever, I've talked to a lot of my students that they're doing this either in a garage and maybe have a little heater in there, or in a basement, or at the very least maybe underneath a carport or someplace that can get out of the snow and the direct rain. I put this cap on top because we do get rain, but I put this cap on top to keep the sun off. But even if I get a drizzle or a little bit of rain, that's going to keep the moisture off. But again, in Arizona, we're blessed with some pretty dry material, so or pretty dry weather, so that really helps us out. So you know, you can do this inside just as well as you can do it outside. So we'll go on to the next step.
Okay, that's a wrap, guys. Be sure and check out our Facebook stuff. We're going to make another video right away. We're in the studio. But check us out on Facebook. And we're out of time now, so that's a wrap.